This man right here, Sean Maloney, every day, Sean is out there trying to make the NRA a better, stronger organization, trying to add members. He is a J.M. Littlefield Volunteer of the Year award winner, and I mean, really, he is a true activist and a true ambassador for the Second Amendment.
Thank you.
There you go. Razor Dobbs, thanks again, man. Sean, how are you, sir? Linda Walker, good morning, man.
Good morning.
Morning,
How are you?
I am fantastic. A little bit better now that you both are here on set. It's good to see you both.
Absolutely. How can you miss the biggest family reunion in the United States?
I know. And you know, this is sedate right now.
They're coming.
I know. Everybody's in church right now, and I bet in about 2 hours or so it's going to be packed. Have you ever seen anything like what it was like yesterday afternoon in here?
Oh, you could not get down the halls or the aisles yesterday.
I love it. I mean, I'm not a big fan of long lines, but at the NRA annual meeting, that means that there are just more of my fellow NRA members here, so I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with that too.
And I'm hearing rumors, nothing official yet, but that we may have set a new record for attendance.
Well, I think almost all of them we have broke. Every year it grows and grows, and a couple more years I think we'll be at 100,000.
Oh, I can't wait for that milestone. That's going to be so much fun. Now, Sean, you and I first met. You've been listening to Cam and Company, I think, since the beginning, or pretty close to it, right?
I probably discovered your channel shortly after you started.
Yeah, and we met for the first time in Louisville, Kentucky.
That's correct.
Back in 2008.
That's correct.
And I was so impressed with what you do. I get emails from Sean all the time because Sean you're an election volunteer coordinator in Ohio, right?
For John Boehner's 8th Congressional District.
And it's amazing what Sean does. You know, once or twice a week, you're not spamming your fellow NRA members, but once or twice a week, you're sending out emails saying, okay, look, here's what's going on at the state capitol. Here's who you need to call. Here's where the bills are, and here's what they do. And folks, this is why it's so important. And I love these emails because you're so concise. You don't waste people's time, but you let them know, here's what you got to do if you want to advance the cause of freedom in the state of Ohio.
If you think about all the emails we get that are garbage, I decided early on that I wasn't going to send anything out unless it was important. And the NRA makes it so easy because if you look at it, it's really recycled in my own words what I'm getting from the ILA as it is. And then, of course, Buckeye Firearms and what's going on in the state of Ohio. And I probably have 2 or 3 other 100 email addresses on there that are friends of mine from Colorado, and just to keep them abreast of what's happening.
Well, I love it. Even though I'm not in Ohio, you keep sending me the emails because it's a great way even for me to keep up with stuff, because sometimes, I mean, when you're trying to keep track of what's going on in all 50 states, it can get a little confusing. I'll see your email and say, oh, that's right. That bill's coming up in committee. Well, I got to call Sean, or I got to call Linda, or I got to get Jim Irvine on the program. We got to talk about this stuff. And Linda, this year, I mean, activism is so important. Especially in Ohio. Ohio's going to be a battleground state. It always is.
Absolutely. People are asking me, well, which way is it going to go? I don't know. I don't have a crystal
That's up
ball
to them.
for Ohio. But, let's face it, Romney is probably going to be the Republican candidate. And as the NRA has said, we've all got to be all in this. There is no excuse for anyone not to be at the polling place on November 6th voting, but it is vitally important on this election that we get people out on campaigns. We cannot sit still. If Obama's reelected, he is going to appoint 1 to 3 more U.S. Supreme Court justices. And a lot of people don't think about the Supreme Court justices are who are supposed to be upholding the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
Justice Ginsburg. And the Heller case, we won it 5-4. I don't like that ratio. Obama appoints 1 more Supreme Court justices. We will lose our Second Amendment rights as we know them for the rest of our life. And without the Second Amendment, all of our other rights are going to go down the hill right behind them.
Absolutely. Talking with Linda Walker and Sean Maloney. Duh. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
I think I've said about 2,000 people's names here over the past few days. Okay, so in Ohio, right now, the past few years, we've seen restaurant carry.
Yep.
We've seen a couple of concealed carry cleanup bills, right?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
I mean, huge reforms,
yeah.
including transportation,
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Castle Doctrine.
Castle
Castle
Doctrine.
Doctrine.
What am I forgetting here?
Preemption. To me, preemption, we passed that in 07. We've had our law now for 8 years. We just had the birthday on the 8th.
Congratulations.
Yes, I think we're going to throw a big party on the 10th.
Yeah?
Yeah, 2 years from now, Buckeye Firearms is going to throw a big old CCW party in Ohio. But preemption passed in 2007, and as far as I'm concerned, that was one of the most important laws that we passed because it brought all the gun laws uniform across the state. And unless you understand exactly what it did, you may not appreciate what it did. But as far as I'm concerned, that's the biggest, best law we've passed.
Well, all you have to know is that Mayor Bloomberg hates firearms preemption laws, and he's trying to attack them around the country. That tells you everything you need to know. If Mayor Bloomberg is against it, chances are I'm probably for it. And you know, see, this is what they like to do. They like to go around to these little communities and say, okay, they're doing this in Pennsylvania. And saying, okay, you need to pass this local gun ordinance. We really need it. We really need it. And then they get, 20 or 30 city councils that have done this, and then they go to the state legislature and said, well, see, look what they've done. This patchwork, this crazy quilt of laws where, you cross a boundary and all of a sudden you're in Warren, Ohio, or you're in Bexley as you leave Columbus, and all of a sudden the laws change. You don't want to be a criminal just because you crossed over a town line, right?
And that's the importance of every single state ought to be passing preemption. I can drive from Cincinnati to Columbus to Toledo to Marietta. We won't talk about Cleveland. But I know that the gun laws across the state are the same. And none of these little towns and villages can put any other ordinances on their books. And we've got some legislation that House Bill 495. Hopefully in the next week or so it will get assigned to a committee and we get it through. There's 3 points on what that bill is going to do. One, it will give the Attorney General the ability to open up reciprocity to all the 49 states that have concealed carry. So it would say
What's the reciprocity system like now in Ohio?
Right now the law is written that to have reciprocity with the other state, they've got to have similar training requirements.
Okay.
We require 12 hours of training to get your concealed handgun license. So this would say if you've got a license in Nevada, come on over.
Well, we have like 16 states that have universal reciprocity at this point, or universal recognition, including Indiana, right? Which is
we can go to Indiana, but Indiana folks can't come to Ohio.
So this would just allow the Attorney General to set up more reciprocity with other states.
The other 2 points on this is for all of us who were licensed in 2004, next year, the law says that you've got to go back to an instructor and show competency and proficiency with your firearm. There's 67,000 people next year who are going to need to do that because it's just prior to their second renewal.
Okay.
So at every other renewal, the law says you've got to go back. Well, what they've done is discriminated against gun owners. If I go to renew my driver's license, I don't have to go drive for the BMV.
Right.
So the Attorney General is on board with striking that from the law also. I think we'll get it. And then the other one is, the common person thinks that the definition of a loaded firearm is I've taken my loaded magazine or clip, inserted it into my firearm, and now it's loaded.
Right.
Under Ohio's law, what loaded is, if I've got a rifle in my car and I've got the clip or the magazine loaded, not inserted into the gun, I've got a loaded firearm. So for those who are not carrying, because if you're carrying, your firearm must be loaded in Ohio.
Okay.
But that's the 3 points of that law and what it will do, and hopefully it gets assigned to committee shortly.
All right. Is there anything that gun owners in Ohio should be doing right now?
Right now, I would say, well, one, watch Buckeye Firearms website, buckeyefirearms.org, because we're going to have a up to the minute of what's going on. I would say if we haven't gotten it appointed to a committee in about a week, it's probably time to start notifying your representatives and Speaker Batchelder's office and asking for them to move the bill.
Okay.
Call everybody for co-sponsors. More co-sponsors, the better. And if you think about what goes on at Camp Perry in Ohio every year, that loaded magazine provision, if that gets changed, that's going to be great for the shooters at Camp Perry.
Oh, no kidding.
To have to drive to Camp Perry and then load up your magazines or your clips, especially your M1A clips. So
Right.
to be able to have those in a box, and it'll make life easier for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've literally got thousands and thousands of people coming to Ohio to go to Camp Perry every year. And if they've preloaded their magazines or clips, they're in violation of Ohio's law.
And again,
clips,
I mean, that's something that people from outside of the state of Ohio probably wouldn't even think about, because, as you say, when most people think of a loaded firearm, they're not thinking of a clip over here, the firearm over here, and yet that being loaded.
Yeah. Stripper clips are okay. We got that inserted in the budget bill a couple years ago. So stripper clips are okay, but folks that are coming into Ohio, be careful this summer on your loaded mags.
Absolutely. Before we let you guys go, I've got to ask, since this is an election year, and Sean, you are one of my heroes when it comes to being, an activist gun owner, what are some, let's start slowly. Let's, if people want to dip their toes into the water of, activism, what are some of the easy things, the first steps that people can take to actually, get off the couch and actually do something to make a difference in November?
And the easiest thing you can do is talk to your friends. And you look at the people, ask them, and never assume anybody's registered to vote, because you'll be shocked to find out that a lot of them aren't. And just get them to talk to their friends. You talk to your relatives, and just start getting the word out, because with 4 million NRA members right now, multiply that exponentially, it starts to grow. And that's the way to do it. We have to talk to each other about what we believe in, and we can't assume that anybody else is thinking the way we are, even at the range. I've been to gun ranges before when I've been at meetings, and, well, we don't want to get involved in politics. And I said, wait a minute, you have to get involved in politics. Well, that all changed during the Clinton gun ban, because all of a sudden the trap shooters were standing over their shotguns and said, wait a minute, this is banned? And so that's the easiest way for all of us to get involved, is to talk to our neighbors, because they all respect us. And if I'm talking to you and I'm getting advice from Cam Edwards, that means a lot more to me than an advertisement in a newspaper or something on the radio. Yeah. So if you just spread the word through your friends, your neighbors, and your relatives, and ask them to, that's the easiest way to get things started. And then, of course, with the NRA websites and all the pro-gun websites, the direction comes from there.
Well, listen, Sean, you are one of my heroes.
I appreciate that.
And I appreciate everything that you do, because I don't know how many. It's not that you devote a couple of hours a day. You devote your life to your family, to your country, and to your rights and your freedoms. I really appreciate all that you do, sir.
And for everybody out there, Cam, I think you underestimate the impact that you have, because when we come home after getting kicked around for 8 hours, we listen to Cam Edwards, and it reloads us.
Well,
Ted Nugent's going to reload us at 1 o'clock, but you do every night.
Well, I appreciate that. And
one of the points that Wayne made during one of his speeches this weekend was the 555. Everyone needs to go out, get 5 new NRA members, get 5 new people who aren't registered to vote, and pick up 5 people and take them to the polls with you on November 6th. And, if each and every one of us do that, Obama doesn't have a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? Every one of us can do that. That's not too much for any one person to do. Get 5 new NRA members, get 5 people registered to vote, make sure 5 people go to the polls, even if they're riding in the backseat of your car. And Linda, again, the work that Buckeye Firearms does is really inspiring. I mean, and I've watched your activism grow over the years, and it's so cool to see.
This was not my issue. I was not involved in the Second Amendment, and I go, one little law, well, it was a big law, concealed carry, passed, and, that's changed my life forever. A year later, I was on Buckeye Firearms leadership. In 2009, the NRA honored me by presenting the Sybil Ludington Women's Freedom Award to me, which was huge. And, Sean has received now the highest award for volunteerism. And, I'm on the board of the NRA, and I'm so humbled and honored to represent our 4 million members. people can't understand how honored I am, and it could be anybody. I mean, I literally fell into this cause.
Well,
and so yeah, I just can't say enough of the activism of getting involved in.
And trust me, Cam, it has a way of grabbing you.
Yeah.
We met within probably 2 or 3 months of me just starting to get involved. When we met in Louisville, I was writing letters on my own. I was Sean Maloney doing whatever, and then I started listening to you, and you know what? I'm going to Louisville, and that's how it all started.
Wow.
And then through you meet Linda, and you meet all these people out here. We're all on the same page. We're all doing the same thing. And nobody can do too little, and nobody can do too much.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Linda and Sean, like I said, you both are inspirations to me.
Thank you.
And thank you both for coming on the program today. It's so good to see you guys. I'm
for
so glad
having us.
we got a chance to talk.
We enjoy it. So one last thing. It was my honor to be able to follow my fellow board member, Colonel North. Everybody keep our troops in your prayers. I've got a son in Afghanistan again.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Oh.
And the media is not reporting on it. It's very, very ugly over there. And prayer is all we can do for our troops.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I will certainly keep your son in our thoughts and prayers, Linda. Thank you. And Sean, thank you again. And
great
I look
seeing you.
forward. I know we'll be talking again very soon.
I think so.
I think we'll probably see you before Houston as well.
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both for coming on the
Thank
program
you.
today.